This playthrough is rated T for teen.
Greetings and salutations, viewers. Vauldemare back here with another episode, 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. In the last episode, we finished, I don't know why I went the long way around. We fit Megami Yakushiji's storyline about how, learning about who Fluffy was, learning that, self-pity and the love of Juro is not going to be exactly the same, but she's finally stood up for herself and is going to help Juro in the final game, to save humanity or what's left of it after millions of years or whatever. So, and we also finished reading all the mystery files that we could get. There's still stuff we're going to earn via the event horizon, but yeah, we finished every single mystery file for the whole game. So for those who recall everything that happened in the game up to a point, there you go. But now, after doing 80% of everyone's journey, we can now finally play Gouta's storyline and see what he's doing behind the scenes. Because, yeah, Gouta's always kind of just there with either Morimura or kind of just, working with her, biding his time. And then he kind of learned some truth about himself during the UFO thing. How will that affect him? Well, let's find out as we finally play the mysterious man himself, hiding behind the catsuit girl, the man with his notes. Sunset, Gyogyo Street, Shikishimi 9th Building, 1985.
It would appear I can no longer rely on Shikishima.
After, especially after learning about his previous self or whatever.
Morimura, why did you have to die?
Yeah, she was shot by her younger self.
Miss Morimura's death has left the Shikishima execs in disarray. Now they won't let me spearhead the Sentinel project, as if I'm just a child. I doubt my opinion will weigh much in their discussions going forward.
Ageism. It's standard for any time. People either think if you're too old you can't do anything, then people think if you're too young you can't do anything. So, alright, let's power walk our way this way. Power walk! Yeah, someone actually stopped. Well, no, I don't want to get in.
Ayame Park, please.
Wasn't it someone who said, like, well, actually not this time, but back in the day, that getting in a Japanese cab was considered, they called them kamikaze cabs because of how dangerous it was to get in a cab. I think it was Rod Serling who said that or something. Anyway, Ayame Park.
Ever since the battle that ended with the Sentinel...
Oh, okay. We've already heard this because he allowed me to skip him, so...
That was pretty quick, Goto-kun.
Oh. I guess he was just sad about her dying because it affected the project, but he knew that she was going to come back.
I checked the corpse at the police station. It was yours, Miss Morimura. There's no doubt about it.
Is that so?
You don't seem too shocked about your death.
Well, it didn't exactly stop me. Here I am, safe and sound.
I suppose that's true.
Well, rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. Although that's probably one of the few issues I have with the... Well, I don't know if I want to say the franchise, just in case, but there was a franchise that they did kind of a thing like that too. And it was kind of disappointing because it kind of made certain choices... It seemed like certain choices you made were pointless, Anyway.
So, what did the police say?
They say a lot of things. I'm not going to tell the kid.
The cause of death was a gunshot to the abdominal area. No bullet was found in the body. Though it's easy to imagine why. The murder weapon was likely from beyond this time, beyond material bullets. Estimated time of death is approximately 1900 hours. You were witnessed running off somewhere with a short-haired student. According to a pedestrian's eyewitness account, anyway.
They found a witness. This era's police really did their due diligence.
Don't be beaming them on the head too much. How did he get this whole police report? I don't know how it is in some. I know in some countries you can legally ask for certain information about cases, but usually it has to be after so much time has passed, because otherwise it would mess an investigation up because maybe a wrong party could find out about it.
There should have been that drone tracking her movement. So, anything helpful in its footage?
The timing couldn't have been worse. It looks like it was monitoring the government's movement at the time. So she wasn't even under surveillance.
I see.
Any thoughts as to our primary suspect?
Well, she's trying to play it off cool, knowing we as the audience, because we are supposed to know by this point that she killed herself, but...
Who do you think did it?
Well...
So are we just playing a mystery now?
An acquaintance of Miss Morimura, described as a short-haired male in a student uniform. Most likely A. Sekigahara.
The way the A is pronounced E-I, it just makes it sound like they're saying, oh, it's A Sekigahara right over there, because there's multiple ones, you know, that type of wording.
The witness statement matches the description of A. Sekigahara.
It did seem like something was wrong with A. Sekigahara's memories. I wouldn't be surprised if he was our murderer.
Though it raises the question of why he'd bother to lure her out. Surely a murderer's optimal scenario is to avoid being spotted at all.
Well, maybe it wasn't premeditated. He could have killed her by accident.
Well, he certainly is the type to brood over things. I can say he's not enough of an idiot to shoot someone on impulse.
Yeah, true.
Who else could it be? That man with that... call sign? Some numerical name.
Logically speaking, he would naturally be another potential suspect.
426, yeah. She's trying to like, yeah, that guy, that prisoner thingy with the... It's like, you know, you don't know.
He did attempt to eradicate all the compatibles. He's a dangerous individual, and he's still at large. All that's left of 426 is his consciousness. I don't think I could reliably predict his behavior. He's desperate enough to do anything.
Desperate.
426 certainly isn't above killing. If Ida-san were here, I'm sure he'd declare 426 our primary suspect.
We know he killed at least 4 people. That's why I shot him dead in the end. If he resurrected himself as an android, maybe that would give him a chance at revenge. As a motive, it sounds pretty clear-cut.
It is kind of cold and creepy when a little girl says something about shooting him dead, you know.
So you believe 426 is the most likely suspect?
Barring A. Sekigahara. Who else could it be?
I'm surprised she's not trying to push it on him being the killer just because he was right there. But I guess it doesn't want to seem like she knows too much.
Aside from Miss Morimura and Ida-san, 4 others came here for refuge 16 years ago. By the time I'd started assisting Miss Morimura's efforts, they'd already lost their physical bodies. Fortunately, we were able to use the data stored in Sector 0. This allowed us to meld their replicated consciousness with AI. As for how they lost their bodies in the first place, reportedly 426 is doing. He destroyed them all in one fell swoop. According to Ida-san's account, anyway. But if number 16 is to be believed, that's not what really happened. And Miss Morimura should be aware of that.
This is what you get when you have a man write stuff down. He's able to kind of like...
I spoke with the pilot of Sentinel number 16. Back then, she gave Miss Morimura something nobody else would. The truth.
We can now recall... hold on a second. Let me see this.
Miss Morimura, I have one more question.
What is it?
Regarding 426, would you say you had any particular feelings toward him?
Feelings? Well, he was certainly a good friend. I felt like he really understood me. Well, used to, anyway. Where's this coming from?
That doesn't make sense. According to number 18, or should I say, Tamao-san.
Yeah, all the people who became Sentinel AI or whatever.
I had a hunch about Miss Morimura's feelings, and my discussion with Tamao-san only confirmed my suspicions.
Oh, there's multiple recalls. Okay, so... well, let's, I guess, recall the... okay. Oh, sorry, number 16 statement.
Wait, what do you mean? Could you go over that again?
Our defensive maneuvers failed. So we decided to stick to the plan. We all headed to the gate to escape. But there was an explosion while we were shifting. From what I can tell, the Type 98 we were shifting in got attacked. But that's the last thing I remember. After that, nothing.
But that means... is that how your data was damaged? It wasn't some plot by 426 after all? Just an explosion? We never did manage to completely reconstruct your data. I thought it was just that you didn't get converted in time, but... You were all dead before the shift even happened. Ida-kun, you said he killed the 4 of them. I know you did. You said he sabotaged them, killed them.
Given the chance, he certainly would have.
You lied to me?
He already tried to kill us all in the past. You know he'd have tried again if we left him alive. Killing him was the right call.
No. That means...
Obviously, that information means that she clearly still cared about him. So that obviously, she's lying about that. So yeah, a man who writes down all his information and keeps it easily accessible is a dangerous foe indeed.
I had a hunch.
Okay, let's recall that one. Flashback, Sakura High School, schoolyard, 1985. And there's Tamao. Power walk to her. I'm on a mission!
I'm sorry for this. I know it's sudden. I need to talk to you.
Did something happen?
It's about Mori-san. She's been transplanting 426's memories onto Juro-kun. I only just found out.
426? As in the escaped android?
No, not that one. She's using the memory data of the man himself. It was saved during the shift.
In other words, she's trying to use Juro to create another 426?
I did my best to talk her down. She's letting me handle Juro-kun's treatment now. Still, I don't think she's given up on this.
She's like another version of Ida at one point. So, just she at least during her story, at least went from forgot whose pathway it was. She eventually stopped. She realized it.
Why is she trying to bring back 426?
Well, I've been giving her some advice about it, and I understand where she's coming from, but Mori-san is in love with him.
With 426?
Maybe she always has been. That's why she wants him back as a human.
But she has to know the risks. He's a dangerous man.
True, but that's not exactly what she's remembering. Besides, she's the one who killed him. That guilt is still eating at her.
Yeah, back during that one loop.
Watch over Mori-san. And try to keep her away from Juro-kun if you can.
I'll keep that in mind.
Thank you. I can barely take the idea of 426, let alone 2.
That's before they knew that 426 eventually, like, he knew that doing that he,
So I was right. Miss Morimura did have feelings for someone.
Before he realized that he shouldn't have done that, and try to make up for that. Because he realized it was probably because he realized it was a failure. Okay, that's the same. We just have to bring up the different statements and everything.
When Juro Izumi lost his memories, you aimed to use him to revive 426. Make one a vessel for the other. One reason seems most likely. You harbored romantic feelings for him.
Me? With him? You're joking. That Chihiro Morimura was mind-hacked, remember? You said so yourself?
Mind hacked?
My goodness, romantic feelings for him? No, God no. Not my cup of tea.
If you say so. Why do I not believe you? Then again, the whole idea of different versions of a character due to, like, you know, social and, you know, inherited stuff, they can eventually become different people, you know.
I'd like to revisit something you just mentioned. About 426 killing at least 4 individuals. Do you really not remember?
Remember what?
You've read my files, I presume? I gathered quite a lot of material in the past. Most of it is rather outdated, including Ida-san's statement concerning those victims. In other words, your answer is objectively incorrect.
Really? Well, can you blame me? Look at this body I'm stuck with. I'm bound to have some memories confused.
I think you're using it as an excuse.
If you have some comment on this form, then by all means.
No. That's not what I meant.
No, you're just trying to manipulate us in your own way.
If you recall, I suggested that Miss Morimura was mind-hacked. That idea was based on a certain piece of evidence I found. One particular log.
What log?
If you really are Miss Morimura, then you should already know. 2 years before you were born, Ida-san extracted some information from 426 that in turn led to the discovery of the data log in question.
So why again does this matter?
You're about to find out.
Be patient, young one.
As for the log itself, it contains footage from the year 2188. It was found buried in the mainframe data during the analysis of 426. You seem very disturbed by me seeing that file. So much so, in fact, that you ended up deleting all of your logs. Would you mind telling me why you did that?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, at the very least, its contents suggested a connection to 426. Or even that he had been manipulating Miss Morimura. The log contained a very interesting report. Apparently, Juro Izumi downloaded memories onto Chihiro Morimura's clone.
Dun dun dun. Oh, sorry. Well, let's talk to her before we recall.
426 was the one who overwrote my memories? So what does that mean? What are you trying to say? Your Morimura and I are both 426?
426 seems to get around a lot, doesn't he? Flashback. Transmission log to Renya Gouta, 2188.
This is Tetsuya Ida. Don't know why I'm recording this. Nobody's going to hear it. Still, might as well. Not like I have anywhere else to share this. I was in the middle of a routine bug regression test, and I noticed part of the final phase had been altered. The change was made in Chihiro Morimura's host. The setting change looks like it'll trigger a memory overwrite. I don't know anything about the memory's contents, but it says the modifying user was Juro Izumi. Because someone thought it'd be a great idea to give that guy senior admin ID. And at this point, well, what the hell can we do about it? At least now I have proof. You're all hypocrites anyway. Yes, including you, jackass. So who even cares anymore? None of this matters. We're all dead anyway.
The log inconveniently revealed one of your secrets. One you were desperate to keep me away from. So you deleted it. That's my theory, anyway.
Dun dun. I guess Ida, 2180 definitely had a bone to pick with a lot of people in that time period. I wonder if they were hypocrites because the whole idea of, not just restoring humanity, but trying to keep themselves alive in some way or fashion.
This refers to the humans who can control the UFO's main...
Oh, okay, that's the same.
Remember where this all began? It was the compatibility experiment, the one that produced you. Based off Miss Morimura's footage and your own admissions, I've completely misjudged the situation. All this time, I believed you were her. But even from the very beginning, you've been your own person.
So, what are you saying? I'm not Chihiro Morimura?
Well, like I said at the beginning, it's all about after some point you're no longer the same person you were cloned to be because you've had different experiences or whatever. So, but I don't know if that's what he's going with in this case.
If I'm not a duplicate of Chihiro Morimura, then who exactly do you think I am?
Someone who murdered herself, that's for sure. If that ain't symbolic, I don't know what is.
You're Chihiro Morimura.
Well, there you have it.
No, not Miss Morimura, the teacher. Professor Chihiro Morimura. The one from the year 2188. And the central figure of Shikishima's interstellar development project.
To be continued. Yeah, so it makes sense at least one of the people from the original 2188 timeline, one of them had to have survived their memories or something like that, while a lot of them died and they just end up being cloned and we find out about them, but they're not the same people. But yeah, Morimura, the one who caused the nanomachine wars, the one who caused all the problems, somehow survived to continue on. I don't know why they're doing this at this point in the game. I guess it's just to take a break or whatever, but let's keep going. I feel like Gota's storyline is basically a recall of everything that's...
Activation confirmed. The terminal is completely sealed off.
We did it.
They've changed targets. The next terminal is just over there.
They're already on the move.
Can't even let us catch our breath, huh?
I haven't hit my operating limit yet, but I'm going to dismount.
Whoa, hey, then who's taking point?
Pull it together. We don't need orders to kick some ass.
I won't be long. It's up to you.
Fine then. Let's roll, Yuki-chan.
Chihiro-san.
After Aegis activation. So this happens during that... I forgot which fight it was, but when Gouta says he has to leave for a period of time, it happens during the destruction path. Yeah, it seems like Gota's storyline is mainly kind of filling in little bits of the gaps in between our information, or reaffirming certain things we already knew, just to kind of say, hey, by the way, it's like at the end of a mystery where they kind of explain the killer or the mystery involved, and just to get people caught up, or to say, hey, this, maybe you missed this information, but this is how it all went down, that type of thing.
Chihiro-san.
Look at that sunset. Just like it was back then. It's beautiful. I'm guessing you were monitoring me with a drone?
I have one locked on to you, yes. Their target's changed. They're coming back this way. It's dangerous here. We need to get you to safety.
Aw, don't tell me you're worried about me. How about you mind your own business? You already know how I feel. This is what I wanted.
Still.
Wait, you wanted destruction, or?
More importantly, can you really afford to waste your time here? Or have you already given up? The invasion is still in its preliminary phase.
I've got time. First, I need to get you somewhere safe.
There are no safe places left. At least, none left for us. We're not safe anywhere. But you know that well enough. You're just losing precious time. Go focus on the job you're supposed to be doing.
Understood. I'll go. You'll find it safer towards the river. If, hypothetically, you wanted to know.
Maybe the whole thing is this is what she wanted. Is this like what's happening, or what, if that she'll probably end up getting killed?
As long as we're both here, there's something I want to clear up.
Go on.
So, tell me, you were in love with Miss Morimura, weren't you? You said she was mind-hacked, but it was more about you being jealous, wasn't it?
That's hardly...
This may be our last chance to talk. Answer me.
And time to bring it all out. Is this why you were hung up on her the whole time?
Correct. Is that what you wanted to hear? That I was driven by some cheap, naive impulse? That I can't think about anything else?
And that's why you brought back my memory too, isn't it? You never cared how you managed to do it. You just wanted her back.
So much.
I'm glad. You really were a slave to your desires. That's the Renya Gouta I remember. It means I don't have to like you after all. Thank you. I think that's all I wanted to hear.
Professor,
You should go. After all, we still have our bet. Although it looks like I'm about to win it.
What, the bet that we lose or something like that? But I'm surprised they have 3 stories of people bringing back lost loves, you know, with the... I mean, I guess it makes sense that a lot of people have the same impulse, you know, bringing back ones they love if they could do it. But I'm surprised the story decided to do 3... Although, I guess it's not Gota's isn't as focused on because it's saved for like the very end. But you think usually most stories would do like 2. One to see opposing views on the same thing, like one person does it but then they give up realizing that what they're doing may be considered wrong while another one gets maniacal like Ida, you know. So anyway, I guess let's get out of here and leave her to her own self.
What's wrong? Did you get separated from your mommy? Could you leave me alone? It's dangerous out here. Just come with me, okay? Will you just... What are you... Don't worry. If you can't find your mommy, I can help you look. We just have to run away right now, okay? Oh, there you are, Miwako. Asami-chan! I'm so glad you're okay. Jeez, you're so reckless. You shouldn't have come this way.
Kisaragi, that girl is...
I know already. I'll get back to the battle once Miwako's safe. Is someone else here? Of course not. Never mind. The evacuation route's that way. Can I bring her too? Hey! That's fine, just hurry up.
So that explains what Tomi was doing during that time when she ran off to sign with Miwako. They found Chihiro and ran off to do all that. So yeah, I like the fact that there's a little story happening between the destruction path that we don't know of until we play a character's storyline. So very nice. I think we have enough time to do one more of his thing before calling it an episode. I didn't think we were going to get completely through Renya's story through one run, but Flashback, Kaiju Riverbed, 1985.
strange.
I'm just gonna keep power walking back and forth. I'm just so. I love Chihiro.
I know this is my first time here, but this suddenly makes me feel so nostalgic.
Sunsets will do that, I find, regardless of time period.
Yes, but this must be, well, I suppose it must be one of those places.
Sure, because you designed it like that.
So, where am I going?
I've rented an apartment under a false name.
Can't be any worse than our last accommodations. As long as it's not Rebel, I'll take it.
My apologies. If it's any comfort, I'm certain nobody will find you there. Not Shikishima, and certainly not Miss Morimura. I suppose we have Ida-san to thank for all this. The funds and paperwork he prepared were invaluable.
Tetsuya Ida. And he's still missing, is he?
Yes.
He's doing his whole spy thing at the moment. And I assume when she talks about previous accommodations, I assume he was talking about 2025 during that time.
Let's go.
Ayame Park.
Chihiro-san.
This is probably after he interrogated her earlier.
You think I'm the professor?
That is what I said. You are Professor Chihiro Morimura, a major figure in Shikishima in the year 2188, namely the leader of its space initiative.
What are you even talking about?
Just some hypotheticals. A possible interpretation of the evidence I found.
Okay, say I am the professor. Remember, Miss Morimura is the one who created me. You think that was her plan? She wanted a host for the professor and not herself? How would that make sense?
We're gonna explain it, right? That's the point of this chapter, right? Okay.
Miss Morimura ran an experiment to grant her clone compatibility. She believed that you were synchronized to her.
And?
She believed it was her own data she transmitted. But it was the other Chihiro Morimura in Sector 0. And of course, you entered the world as a newborn, incapable of verbal communication. So Miss Morimura never realized her mistake.
This is all speculation.
Certainly, yes.
It sounds like he's on the nose.
But if I'm right, and you are the professor, I imagine you were in quite a panic yourself. All things considered, it was a staggering deviation from the original plan.
What original plan?
You're gonna just tell us, game. I know there's spacing issues for the purposes of either saving or whatever, but come on, man.
Among the logs from 2188, one of Tetsuya Ida's noted that he'd found an anomaly. Chihiro Morimura was set to undergo a memory transplant in the final phase. And the final phase, well, that would be us.
That would be the final one. After that, it's all Dungeon Rings.
I don't know where you think you're going with this.
A bit of patience, please. There's a little more context I need to provide.
Yep, it is just like a detective. Just like, you know, a bit of like Columbo.
The log from the future I saw first. That would be the comms log I found with my own ID. The first log I checked held some surprises. The author seemed to be an elderly Renya Gouta. And the date of recording appeared to be 2188. I assumed it was some future version of myself. One that had time traveled into the far future. But now, I don't think that's the case. I believe it's the other way around. In other words, I myself am a clone of him.
Yep, he's getting there. She's like, no, he's figuring it out.
Every individual I saw in that log footage, they all created clones of themselves.
Clones? Huh?
I did find a log that proves this point.
What did you see?
A comms log between you and Professor Takamiya. Her field is genetic engineering, I note.
She's like, oh man. Flashback, transmission log from Professor Takamiya.
Professor Takamiya, how are the projections on those self-replicating probes? The simulations look good, especially the survey range. We never expected a rate of expansion that high. It was definitely the right call to prioritize its strength as a group over individual units. These probes are pretty much living machines now. They self-replicate using natural resources mined from asteroids in their routing. They'll just keep building up and breaking down. An infinite cycle of self-replication on its way to its target. There's basically zero chance of the tech failing midway through. They'll just keep on going. Probably long after humanity's gone. Glad I came to an expert then. All that's left is the refinement of the memory cube. The infrastructural storage cell, right? The cube's made up of 5 identical memory layers. In theory, it'll compare itself to nearby probes and use them as a template for repairs. And if it can't be repaired, well, fine, 1 probe down. We've got thousands more. And our passengers? I'll be loading them up with the DNA of all the survivors. I've already got samples and data from all 15. Now it's just down to launching them. These clones will go with all our hopes on their shoulders. By the way, what do we do about him? I mean, after that DNA test. We do nothing. He doesn't have to know. What can I even say to him? Not much, I guess.
Why would you play the pronoun game when clearly you guys know who you're talking about, but it's obviously for the mystery? I don't know, I consider, when you play the pronoun game, I consider that almost lazy writing, because it's just like, you're obviously obscuring a fact that, you know, that the game's going to tell us eventually. I assume it's, if he said him, I'm assuming maybe Gouta, but, you know.
There were 15 survivors of that colony, each with a clone established to be compatible. Though they grew up in different eras, different worlds. And you aimed to replace your clone's memories with your own. That was your real plan.
I think that's what quite a few of them wanted to do, really, when you think about it.
Right now, I imagine your biggest question is precisely how much of that log I've seen. Am I close? You do have a genius mind, but also the form of a child. I imagine it's harder than usual to hide your agitation.
It's absolutely not. Now you're just trying to trick me?
Gotcha.
I'd say, based on that log, Professors Takamiya and Morimura seem to know each other quite well. Maybe you know something about that.
Of course not.
Then perhaps instead, Tsukasa Okino? Being compatible, that makes one part of his identity clear. He's one of the 15 from the year 2188. So, any theories? Who was he in the year 2188?
Well, the one who created the program, but...
Care to guess?
Stop it.
No? Then allow me to clarify. That boy, Tsukasa Okino, is Professor Chihiro Morimura's son. But not her child by personal, conventional birth. The professor donated her egg cells as a young woman, in accordance with the policies on population control.
I was wondering if they were ever going to explain who Okino was in the grand scheme of things, because he wasn't a playable character, so he had to have some... I mean, he has importance, but you know what I mean. Like, they were going to explain his story without him having an actual path.
No comment at this time? Their blood relation wasn't exactly obvious, until DNA testing on the clone revealed it. The professor was faced with the truth. He was her son, which naturally sparked an inconvenient surge of maternal instinct. However, Okino himself didn't think highly of the professor. He had his disagreements with the project staff, too. When it seemed like her end was near, the professor recorded him one final message. One last chance for him to know the truth.
Stop!
You gotta go through it, mainly for the player's sake, if anything.
You saw that? But how? You'd need a biometric ID match to access that log. So you should only have been able to access your own. My logs and Okino's should have been locked off.
Thank you, Professor Morimura.
You can't run away from... The truth doesn't care about your feelings. Get back here. Oh, you didn't really run that far.
Indeed, the files I could access were somewhat limited. Mostly company logs. Meeting reports, call transcripts, bureaucratic chaff. Barely anything in the way of your personal records.
Then, how do you know what was in my logs?
It's simple, really.
Flashback. UFO mainframe.
That should do it for preparations. Now, let's see if the biometric authentication works.
Or you could just do it. Power walk some more.
Did it go through?
Well, I don't know. Let's find out. Check authentication. Roar.
Looks like that got me past the initial barrier, at least. Now, with Miss Morimura's ID, I should be able to get into her logs.
And how'd you do that? Oh, right. Just finding herself, just getting her, knocking her ass out.
Maybe if I check Miss Morimura's logs, I might find a clue why your biometric ID matches hers. It really is her ID.
Yori Fuyusaka?
Though unconscious, she proved very helpful. She is Chihiro Morimura, a compatible version. If you really are Miss Morimura, then you should already know who Iori Fuyusaka is. Because that would mean you hid her here in Sector 4. The plan was for the two newborns to grow up with their own separate lives. Ida-san's idea, presumably. Chihiro Morimura was planned to be placed in 2104, and Tetsuya Ida in 2024, yet neither could be found.
Dun dun.
I knew Renya Gouta of Shikishima pretty well. You and he are very different. Except that you both make my life a lot harder. So, suppose I am the professor. Then what?
I want to know the truth. I want to know the reasons behind all of this.
So you're kind of like a Sherlock Holmes. You're more of a predominant, not so much justice or anything like that. Just, I want to know the truth. I want all the info.
But that seems unlikely. I imagine you're not inclined to tell me anything.
And why's that?
It'd be inconvenient for you if we had all the facts. Considering you're trying to eliminate us. From the very beginning, you never intended for this world to survive.
Dun dun dun! So she basically wanted to just completely destroy humanity for whatever reason, whether it be selfish or maybe the fact we caused all this. Well, she helped cause it in the first place. Maybe we needed to be abolished and humanity didn't need to be resurrected or whatever. So, oh, we can't even finish. We have to do some battles before we can even finish the game. So, wave 5, huh? All right then. Well, I think that's a good place to call it. So, in the next episode of 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, we'll play until we beat Battle 5 and then get back to the plot then. So, time for some more fist and fighting and Deimos destruction. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.